You guys, I am so excited. I've packed my bags and I'm about to board a flight to London and see my favorite football team play, Tottenham Hotspur. But regardless of what team you support, if you're a traveling fan or an away fan planning a trip to London and you're trying to figure out what to budget, how to get around, how much things cost, what to expect, this video is for you. And let's see if I can survive my daily budget of £75 on non-game days and £100 on game days. Let's go.
Okay, so we just cleared customs. So there's two ways to get to where you need to go to your accommodation. You can take the Heathrow Express. It is a bit more expensive, so we're just taking the regular underground because we're trying to save money. And London, as you guys know, is quite expensive.
For all our public transport, we use these blue London Oyster cards, which you can top up, and it saves you money in the long run as opposed to buying individual tickets. I've linked in the description to more information about it. I put 15 GBP on my card, which needed to be refilled every 3 or so days depending on where we went, as fare prices vary depending on your destination.
Oops.
Once on the tube, it was about an hour and a half to reach our accommodation. And there's two questions to ask yourself when it comes to accommodations. Do you care more about being as close to the stadium as possible? Maybe if you're just on a very short trip? Or do you care more about being in a nice, convenient part of town that's kind of equal distance from the stadium and other attractions you plan to go to in London? We went with option 2, with an apartment right next to Ulster Station and the financial district. So welcome to our 2-bedroom, 220 GBP per night apartment. It is about 45 minutes by subway from the nearest subway stop to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's about a 20-25 minute walk to the central building district with the view by the water of all the bridges, so it's a really good location. So while this isn't the most beautiful apartment ever, it's still what we were looking for. We wanted a 2-bedroom apartment that was in a really good location. And also we booked kind of last minute, only about 3 weeks before we came here. And for this price point, a lot of the accommodations that we saw were really small 1-bedroom apartments, or, you know, if it was 125 or 150 GBP, there would be like, you know, a studio, like maybe a bigger studio and stuff. So this was one of the few options that we could find, so I feel so lucky that we found it in the last minute. I can definitely get over the fact that this living room area is kind of boring, lifeless. It doesn't matter. Football is the most important thing. So feel free to check out the description. I've linked to booking.com where we found our accommodation, so check that out. You guys, today is game day. I'm so excited, and I thought today's the perfect day to compare my daily costs from the previous days, the non-game days, and then compare what I'm going to spend and I'm spending today, starting with my meal here and my Prosecco and orange juice, which was $10. But to rewind to a few days, so basically day 1, I spent £20 on the Oyster card, and I still have money left over on it, so I feel like that was a good amount to spend on it. And then I went to the grocery store and I got a bunch of different stuff for the apartment, and I got a shrimp sandwich, so that totaled 10 Great British pounds. So then we went for drinks in the evening because I wasn't super hungry. We went for drinks and we watched the Aston Villa Nottingham Forest game. I was ordering gin spritzers. Those were 14.5.
GBP that they were doing 2 for the price of 1. So I got to get 4 gin spritzers for £30, which is insane. And then after that game, we stopped at this fast food place. Fast food, I say in quotation marks because I ordered a salmon burger and that was the nicest, softest, yummiest salmon I've ever had in my life. But all in all, I ended up spending 73 GBP, so that was just a couple pounds under my daily budget. I guess technically, if I include the tips, it was over budget, but whatever. Speaking of tipping, tipping is not mandatory here in the UK, which I didn't know. So I've been tipping, but you technically don't have to. A lot of times if you're paying with a card, they don't even, they press past the screen that will allow you to add a tip to your receipt. So that's interesting, but I'd still tip anyway because I'm American. So then yesterday, so we went to this sandwich shop that's near our apartment called Trade, and I spent £18 total on a cappuccino and a smoked salmon egg benedict, which is amazing. After that, we went for a walk down to the CBD, we walked to the river. That cost a total of 0 GBP. And then in the evening, we went to watch the Champions League matches, so we went to this really cool sports bar right next to our apartment. So I ordered 2 cocktail drinks for 6.5 GBP, and I also got nachos for, I think it was 11, and that totaled 42 GBP. So yesterday was significantly under my budget, so I think I'm doing good here.
I spent the rest of the afternoon exploring near Angel Station as I tried to find a Kulishevsky jersey, but I couldn't find one, so I headed back to get ready. Okay, so since you're not all Spurs fans, I'll give you a rundown of what you can expect in terms of experience and prices on game day. First are a lot of drunken shenanigans, as there's a lot of bars to stop at before any match. We stopped at quite a few. Then I walked to the stadium early to get the Kulishevsky jersey at our store, which was £85, and that's with a discount. Then I met back up with my friends, we hit up some more bars and took turns buying each other rounds of drinks, which ended up being about 14 to 18 pounds for a couple of beers and always a gin and tonic for me. And then this happened.
We made it! This is the most beautiful stadium in the world.
Yes, it is.
After Tottenham won, everyone convened at what I believe is the longest bar in the world, in our stadium. I didn't buy anything, but everyone knows that stadium prices for anything are always more expensive. And after the stadium, more bars. I ended up spending about £130 this day, buying rounds of drinks, buying the jersey, and the pizza I ate after this. And it was all, well, worth it. And we did this all again on game day number 2. Spurs play Everton.
So I am back from London. Oh my god, what an amazing trip. Thought I would share some of my takeaways for those of you who are planning a trip to London to watch a football game. But man, what an amazing city, regardless if you're going to a football game or not. Probably the biggest takeaways that I have is, 1, I'm so glad that we stayed in an accommodation that was in central London. So it's anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour to anywhere you want to go in London. The reason this matters so much with football in particular is once it's the end of the game, a lot of people stay and are drinking in the
the lobby area, but like there's a big bar area at the stadium after the game. And so you can find yourself there for like an hour or whenever they tell everyone to leave after the game. And then you're gonna wanna go to all of the bars on the way to the stadium. So you're gonna spend a lot of time pre-gaming there, a lot of time post-gaming there. But essentially after the game, when you're drunk, especially on Champions League nights, you're gonna wanna like try to get home as soon as possible when you're ready to go. And it can also be tricky because some tube lines and whatnot can not be running anymore. So anyway, long story short, it helps so much if you're not staying too far from the stadium, because you can get home within like 45 minutes to an hour. And then on the non-game days, you're close enough to other sites in London, whether it's the Tower of London, Shakespeare's Theatre, or, you know, one night I went to see my friend's comedy show. But long story short, everything was like 45 minutes to an hour away. So I love that we stayed in central London. So I just think you have to keep that in mind depending on where your club's stadium is located. So my camera just died, so I had to switch to recording on my phone. Okay, so the other big takeaway that I had about London is that London's not as expensive as I thought it was. I mean, there's definitely things that were expensive. I think the tube is pretty expensive if you're using it every single day, and maybe you don't have like a monthly plan if there is one, or a weekly plan or something. But other than that, I feel like you can find plenty of items at the grocery store, or plenty of restaurants that are normal prices. You know, I ate at places like this Mediterranean place that was like 20 pounds or something, and the place where we watched the Champions League at the sports bar had really good prices. There were really cool deals, as I showed you, like the 2 for the price of 1 gin spritzers. So London's a pretty workable city with your wallet. Like, you'd be surprised. There's definitely things that are very expensive. Then there's also a lot of things that aren't. But the most expensive thing was obviously the accommodation. So my biggest piece of advice is the accommodations will be the most expensive part. So definitely find an accommodation as soon as you book a ticket to the game. As a traveling fan or an away fan, it might not be as easy for you to guarantee that you'll get a ticket. I'm a One Hotspur Plus member, so that's like the next best thing after being a season ticket holder. But even then, for like bigger games like Tottenham against Liverpool, like it's not guaranteed that I'll get a ticket to that game, you know? So it doesn't make so much sense to book an accommodation before you pay for your tickets. But once you pay for your tickets, I would book an accommodation as soon as possible, because the earlier you book an accommodation, the cheaper the price will be. And by London standards, it's not going to be that cheap. Again, what we found was the best we can find for a 2-bedroom in central London. So that's saying a lot. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I don't have much more to say. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Give this video a like if you're a Tottenham fan. Even if you're not a Tottenham fan, give this video a like. If you give it a dislike though, that still helps me in the algorithm, so that doesn't hurt me at all. I hope you liked this video. Please share it with anyone that you think it could help, or share it on your Facebook or wherever to remind you to come back to it when you're ready to plan your trip to London to go see your favorite team in London. So I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a great day.